What's up, Guardians, and welcome back, Titans. I'm Profane, and thank you as always for checking out the video. In our journey through the best builds in Destiny, we turn our attention once again back over to Titans, and with the recent changes that Bungie's introduced, this might be the greatest Stasis build that Titans have ever seen. But that is, of course, if you don't take into account the butchering of Frost Armor a few years ago. In this week's update, Bungie introduced several ability updates, and when it concerns Stasis Titan, we've gotten updates to all of our aspects. Shiver Strike returns more energy on missed hits, and Empowered Melees now deal 20% more damage. With the synergy that's been created with some of these aspects and our current Stasis Fragments, we've brought forth a new era of Stasis dominance, and that starts with the changes to the Howl of the Storm aspect. This now grants 2 melee charges. Once you've built up momentum, you can slide and activate your melee ability, and in doing so, you will consume your Shiver Strike charge, but you'll perform a powerful uppercut, which lays down a wave of stasis crystals, instantly freezing any enemy that the crystals come into contact with. This used to drop down 4 crystals, 1 small, 2 medium, and 1 big crystal, but this now lays down its crystals in a similar means as wave frame grenade launchers, or consecration. With the amount of crystals that we'll be able to lay down, we'll be able to create several instances of shatter, and if we play into that right, we can unleash a ton of damage onto several boss level enemies. Something that continues to be an issue for this ability is when using it against enemies that are on or near any sort of steps, because the crystals never want to spawn properly if the enemy's not on the same level. A secondary benefit in running this aspect is that you will be able to perform this uppercut whenever Glacial Quake is active, and it consumes the same amount of energy as a light attack would, and because of how well this will synergize with our Tectonic Harvest aspect, we'll be able to have a near endless supply of uppercuts. Tectonic Harvest creates stasis shards whenever shattering crystals and frozen enemies. We'll gain 10 points of HP off of small shards, and as much as 30 HP on big ones, and when we collect small shards, we'll gain 1 stack of Frost Armor, with bigger shards providing 3 stacks. Each stack of Frost Armor provides just over 6% bonus damage resistance, and at 5 stacks of Frost Armor, we would maintain a 31% bonus in damage resistance, but because of our choice in fragments, we'll be able to build that up to 8 stacks, which will provide us with a max of 50% bonus damage resistance. In addition to bonus health regen, we'll gain 10% bonus melee energy off of each stasis shard, and there's no longer a cooldown to the regeneration of shards. There's lots of powerful exotic armor options that would serve us well, like Icefall Mantle, Inmost Light, or Precious Scars, but to take full advantage of these new changes, we're going to be turning to the Syntheseps. Once we've been surrounded by 3 enemies, we'll trigger the Biotic Enhancements bonus, and when this is active, we'll gain a 50% bonus in super damage, and a 165% bonus in melee damage, increasing the damage of our Shiver Strike, our unpowered melee, and most importantly, it's going to increase the damage of our Howling Storm uppercut. When it comes to our character stats, it's going to be melee and super that we want to invest the most into. With a 200 melee stat, we would give our Shiver Strike and Uppercut a 30% bonus in damage. And with a 200 super stat, we'd give our Glacial Quake a 45% bonus in damage, which would increase Uppercut damage whenever Glacial Quake is active. What's really going to push this build over the top is how it synergizes with Shield Crush and other artifact mods. Whenever Frost Armor is active, Shield Crush will provide our melee with a 50% bonus in damage, which will carry over into our super. There's going to be plenty of stasis shards to give us Frost Armor, but if we run stasis weapons alongside the Fever and Chill artifact mod, we're going to have an additional source to sustain that armor. Since both our melee and super would be over 100 points, we'd be receiving a 190% bonus to any source of melee and super regen, which would increase the effectiveness of stasis shards, armor mods, weapon traits, and anything else that gave us energy. If you are coming in short on either of these stats, then I would recommend using melee and super font mods. These are going to provide either 20, 40, or 50 extra points whenever armor charges are active, and by using armor mods like Reaper and Siphon, we would be able to make plenty of orbs to keep armor charges active. When it comes to the most optimal fragment selection, we've elected to go with Whisper of Hunger, which increases the melee energy that we'll gain off of each stasis shard, pushing that up to 17.5% off of every small shard and 75% with big ones. Whisper of Fissures will increase the radius and damage that's created whenever stasis crystals and frozen enemies shatter, providing us with a 25% increase in radius, which is going to help us inflict that damage onto more enemies, and that's going to cause those effects to deal 12.5% more damage. We're using Whisper of Rime, which is what lets us max out our Frost Armor, and it increases the maximum duration that Frost Armor can stay active, bumping that up to 13 seconds. I would normally like to go for Whisper of Torment to increase the uptime of our Glacial Grenade, but because of the significant uptick in shard creation, I think we'll get a lot more benefit out of Whisper of Conduction, since this draws all nearby shards to us, and it provides a passive increase to our super stack, making it a lot easier to reach that 200 threshold. Before we go any further, I've got a quick message from today's video sponsor, Incogni. If you weren't already aware, your personal information is at a constant risk of exposure. Every day there's a growing number of threats, with a never-ending supply of talented hackers. You've got your solicitors, telemarketers, text message and email scammers, hackers that target your bank accounts, your social security, your entire identity. And in this day and age, it's so easy for these scumbags. Just a quick online search of your name and city could reveal a lot more details about you than you ever expected to see. Your information is getting passed through job recruiter websites, data brokers, social media, medical applications, credit card companies, and many other sources. And it's almost become an everyday occurrence to see billion-dollar companies getting plastered on the news for letting your information slip through the cracks. But Incogni works to remove that information so that hackers don't have a chance to sully your good name. Incogni was established in 2021, and since that time they've resolved over 245 million cases, and they're the only personal data removal service that's been independently verified by Deloitte, which is one of the most trusted and well-known professional service firms in the world. Incogni doesn't just identify these threats, they remove them, and they're constantly scanning hundreds of data brokers to ensure that your name never pops up. And if there's something out there that their trained experts don't catch, Incogni now offers an incredible benefit, letting users submit custom removals. So if you find any of your information on a random website, you can copy and paste that onto your dashboard, and one of their privacy experts will take care of it for you. And right now, Incogni is passing on a 60% discount whenever using my special promotional code, and it's super easy to get set up. You visit incogni.com/profane or use the code profane at checkout. You create your account, and then Incogni will go straight to work at protecting your identity. And the best time to start protecting yourself is yesterday. So don't wait for yourself to become a victim. Visit incogni.com, put profane in as your promotional code, and enjoy never having to worry about scammers, hackers, and all of those scumbags. When we decide on what weapons to use with this build, we should take into consideration stasis weapons that come with Headstone, Chill Clip, or Crystalline Corpse Bloom so that we can expand on our ability to create stasis crystals. And that carries over into our choice of exotic weapons, because the Wicked Implement, Aegir's Scepter, or Salvation's Grip would all make for great options. But if we are going for maximum damage, we should consider using a weapon that applies a debuff, and the Tractor Cannon would be the standout amongst those, especially since our uppercut will keep us close to our enemy. You'd also find a lot of success out of using a weapon like Finality's Augur, since you can drop one of those turrets and go to work on your enemies with your uppercut. And if we went into that direction, we would want to equip the Cauterized Darkness artifact mod, so that our solar damage would deal 30% extra damage to any enemy that's slowed or frozen, but that does not include boss level enemies. It really doesn't matter what weapons you decide to go with, because you're going to be sliding around dropping crystals that are going to go off on enemies like sticks of dynamite. So if you've been ignoring Stasis Titan, it's time to come on back, because this new Stasis build is absolutely incredible. With that said, I'd love to hear your thoughts about today's build and all the changes that took place this week. Let us know your thoughts down below. If you need help getting these builds set up on your own, then be sure to check out my Mobalytics and dim links, which are down below. That's going to wrap things up for today's video, but thank you as always for checking it out. If you enjoyed and found it helpful, then be sure to hit that like button below, along with the subscribe button if you're new. Both are greatly appreciated, and both really do help support the channel, and so does being a member. So a big shout out and thank you to all of our channel members. And until next time, Guardians, this has been Profane, wishing you all some happy hunting.